was at hand. So go ahead, Mike.
Well, we can't stress that enough. I mean, Matthew 24:34, Jesus said, "Assuredly I say unto you, all these things will come upon this generation." And throughout the whole book of Revelation, we have all literal time indicators: near, shortly, at hand, quickly. So if you're gonna play fast and loose with the literal time indicators, you can come up with any interpretation you want. People are saying, "Oh, the Russian invasion of Georgia is the beginning of the end." It's not the beginning of the end. It has absolutely nothing to do with Bible prophecy whatsoever. So the mystery, now that's St. John's real commission in these verses, and the mystery of the seven stars which you saw upon my right hand and the seven golden lampstands. The seven stars are the messengers of the seven churches, and hellos, could be angels or messengers of the seven churches, and the seven lampstands are the seven churches.
Right. So it's his relating and ministering through the Spirit to the churches, these seven literal churches here, and all. Again, what you were saying, these things are at hand. Jesus said, "This generation will not pass away." Again, it's never meant suddenly. These things are at hand suddenly. Suddenly they'll happen. Well, it's never used in this way. The word tachos or takios, whatever, in the Greek there, at hand, agos, these words are never meant that way. They can only be twisted that way. These events were literally at hand. Timothy, come to me quickly. He doesn't say, Timothy, come to me suddenly. I mean, it's just a complete perversion and twisting of this text to make it mean something to fit a scenario, a grid of interpretation, a premillennial view that truly has, enough, I would say, popes and horsemen that literally are beyond the point of no return. I mean, you can see it in their hearts and their lives. They've written themselves in a corner, right? And they've had enough years, decades of saying these things and twisting them, and they can't get off. It's too late unless maybe there's a pall of conversion, if you will, on this matter. So, again, these things are to be done shortly, quickly. They're God's dealing with the church. And if you want to give us a call, 808-296-5467. We are live listening to Bible Prophecy Fulfilled, and you can find out more on our website, BibleProphecyFulfilled.org. And if you want to support us, you can, because we've got opportunities and we've got struggles where we are, and it's not easy. We are standing with conviction. We're not standing to make a fortune. We're losing quite a bit. In fact, if you can prove us wrong, please do so, because we could save a lot of money. And give us a call, 808-296-5467. But it's a conviction that will not let us go. And so we are bearing and sharing our hearts here, and would love to discuss with you, reason together on the matter of Bible prophecy. So this chapter 1, I wanted to touch on one point. Again, the phone number is 808-296-5467. The seven stars are the angels of the seven churches. Now, this is often thought of as pastors, which it could be, but I sort of doubt that, because Titus says appoint elders in every city. Elders, plural, right? And so not one pastor or one hierarchical system where one person is over a whole church in a whole city, right? I could be wrong, but I doubt it from Titus. And also, I think that the word can, and literally is interpreted, angels here, is interpreted as spirit, right? And so again, that's when Jesus says in Matthew 18:10, the same word. He says, the children, their faces do always behold, their angels do always behold the face of your Father, right? And I would just say that could be, I could be wrong, could be their spirits do always behold the face of your Father. Same word. Okay, so maybe do a study there, and I would say that this could be referring to the spirit or heart of that church in that one of these very seven locations, that this message is to the spirit of that body of Christ in each individual place here. Could be. So just some food for thought there. Did you want to go on here, Mike, or do we want to feed our temptation to jump into the new heavens, new earth there.
Well, Gary, I'll follow your lead, and but I just want to point out again that this is a message written to the church in Ephesus. This was a historical church that existed in the first century. It's the same book that the book of Ephesians is written to. In no way are any of these messages written to 7 church ages, which is a very popular teaching today, that there are 7 church ages, and these books are written to 7 church ages.
And let me say
doesn't say that.
There's no way a person could ever walk away with that thought if they had not heard it. There's
Right.
no way they could have picked the scriptures up and thought, well, that's what this means. 7 church ages here. Would never happen in a million years. So 1,000 years, let's say that. So we have a phone call here. Andy in Honolulu. Hey, Andy.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Talk real loud for us, Andy.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of the Amazing Facts series?
Yeah, I have, with Doug Batchelor or something like that.
Yeah. It's really heavy on not interpreting, but letting the Bible interpret the Bible.
Yeah, there's some very, very good principles I got from listening to him.
Can I ask you a major question?
Sure.
Can you tell me how the fire will start in hell and what will keep it burning?
Okay, well, I think if we can back out and maybe look at fire as a symbol to communicate to us something natural that relates to something spiritual that refers to a judgment or a refining a judgment that would be throughout the Old Testament. Fire, the cities torched, or elsewhere, with Nebuchadnezzar, that fire, that was a judgment. And so fire is used to describe judgment. There's not a physical, we don't believe at all, a physical fire for judgment. It's describing eternal judgment, because at the same time you have darkness in this.
About the fire that will burn the world up, that will burn the devil up, that will burn the wicked up. This is what I'm talking about.
Okay, so now we've got a couple different things, because now a fire that burns the world up, we would have to look at the passages with that in 2 Peter and walk away. We would clearly say that that's not referring to the physical burning up of the planet, that passage right there talks about the elements burning up, and the word is stoikolon in the Greek. It's used about 5 times to mean the principles, philosophies, and rudiments of the Old Covenant system. And so, again, that was the passing away of that Old Covenant figurative language here, with the elements being burned up. That is, it would be judged.
Fire is mentioned hundreds of times all the way through the Bible.
Hundreds of times, right? And I'm trying to say that.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you what I'm getting at. What I was listening to here. We're told that the heavens and the earth are kept in store for fire, and this is against it is against the wicked. It's for the wicked,
right,
against the day of judgment.
Right.
And up in the air, the heavens are kept in store for fire.
Right.
Up in the air, you got water up in the air, and you got other chemicals up there that's keeping us alive right now.
Right.
1,000 years after the second coming of Christ, it says that for the heavens shall pass away with a great noise. God is going to upset the formulas up there in the first heaven, and the sky, the firmament is going to blow up, and the fire is going to come down on the wicked.
Where you're at is 2 Peter 3,
exactly,
verse 10. And what we're saying is that the word elements there, elements shall melt with fervent heat, and the earth also and the works that are therein shall be burned up. So the elements we have to break down means rudiments, philosophies, principles. It's used in Galatians 4:3, Galatians 4:9, Hebrews 5:12, the elements or rudiments or philosophies, nothing to do with physical elements. So we would like to maybe communicate with you the use of the word heavens and earth, or new heavens, new earth, versus the old heavens, old earth here, that this is language used throughout the Old Testament, again, with Abraham. He says he'll bless his descendants as many as the stars of heaven, as the sands of the sea.
Fire and brimstone, the fire that will burn the wicked up.
Right. Well, what I'm saying is that the fire means a judgment, and what the judgment upon is the heavens and earth. And what I'm saying here is that Jesus says that the heaven and earth that the Bible's talking about, it's also in Isaiah 51:16, is the covenant community. Again, Abraham started that covenant community, heaven and earth. You have it, Isaiah 1. Isaiah, a prophet, addresses the Old Covenant people, I think it's Isaiah 1:2, as heaven and earth. You have throughout the Old Testament, Deuteronomy, I think it's 32, Moses addresses the people, covenant people, as heaven and earth.
We're talking about fire and brimstone. That this is the punishment for the wicked.
Yeah, well, I think
the other answer that I'm looking for you is it also says that the earth is kept in store for fire too. And what that means is that there's coal that's in Alabama, and there's a.
I think if you back out and see what I'm saying that's contrasting that, is you're approaching through a natural interpretation of the heavens and earth, and I'm kind of backing out and saying that this is figurative language, because Jesus says heaven and earth will pass. And then he says he tells us when that'll happen. If you go to Matthew 5:17.
You can't explain away fire, because this earth it says the earth and its work is going to be burned up.
Right. Well, what is heaven?
Every time you explain fire away, there's enough scriptures in the Bible about hellfire to bring you right back.
Well, right now we're talking first about what is being burnt up, and you're talking again and again about heaven and earth, and we're visiting the Scripture, Old Testament, the prophets, the epistles.
It's in the New Testament too.
And the New Testament, Matthew 5, Jesus says, verse 18, "Verily I say to you, till heaven and earth pass, one jot or tittle shall in no wise pass from the law till all be fulfilled." Yeah. Did Jesus fulfill all of the law? If Jesus did, which we're saying he did, fulfill all of the law, he says one jot or tittle, he would fulfill it all. At that point, heaven and earth would pass. The old covenant community, heaven and earth, would pass. That system was done away. And there's a transition here in the New Testament with it passing away, and it fully passes away when not one stone was left upon another. And fire literally did come on Jerusalem. Jesus said, Matthew 22:7, that that the king would send his armies and burn their city. So again, fire is judgment, and there's visible judgment and there's invisible judgment. And so, yes, fire can be used in a literal physical way, but much further and deeper judgment is the unseen fire. Okay, so I think even future scholars would agree that this fire is not talking about lava, physical fire, that type
That's
of.
all the Bible talks about, because the devil and his angels and the wicked, that's the only way that they're going to be disposed of. I mean, the righteous are promised that they're going to inherit the earth, and they have to be disposed of, and then the earth has to be disinfected. That's going to be done by literal fire and brimstone.
Well, I think if you'll follow the thought of what I'm saying about there in 2 Peter.
You don't have any thought if you keep explaining away the judgment of the wicked.
Well, I think I'm explaining, but I'm not explaining away. I think I'm explaining really
exactly what you're doing.